Hi, in the second episode of the webinar series Eduix and Glowdom, Leveraging the Digital Ecosystem for Education in Namibia, the participants Lais Oliveira Leite, Iina Shivute, and Tugela Sakarias talk about the groundwork of digitizing the teaching practice amid the COVID-19 pandemic. First, Lais, an education consultant of Eduix, talks about different roadmaps that teachers can use as models to support the understanding of digital transformation in education. Then, Iina Shivute brings the perspectives from a software educator about the successes and challenges on adopting remote education amid the pandemic in Namibia. And finally, Tugela Sakarias presents his perspectives as a teacher and a change agent about this digital transformation while he is applying remote education during the pandemic.
And welcome to the second episode webinar series of Glowdom and Eduix, leveraging digital ecosystem for education in Namibia. Thank you all for joining the webinar, and welcome. We have our speakers ready, and Glowdom and Eduix have joined forces to provide national-grade education digitalization ecosystem in Namibia, and Eduix has been a leading education software ecosystem in Finland, and over 90% of Finnish higher education institutions created by Eduix. Glowdom has been advancing quality of education in Namibia and city building and relevant education technology solutions since 2012. And so far, Glowdom has impacted over 56,000 learners in Namibia, as well as 54 schools. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to be your moderator for this episode. And are the speakers ready? Iina?
Yes, we are, Sebulan.
All right. Thank you so much. Lais, we have Lais joining us from Finland. Lais, are you there with us?
Here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have Tugela Sakarias. Tugela, are you there?
Yes, I'm
Great.
connected.
Great.
Are you?
Very, very good to have you.
Thank you.
Just to kick off the webinar series, I'm going to start with Lais. Please, Lais, could you please introduce yourself to the audience and perhaps tell us a little bit of your background and your involvement in the education sector?
Yes. Would it be okay if I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Just a moment. I hope you can see it.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So I would like to start my presentation talking a little bit about how teachers can integrate or start considering integrating technology into their everyday teaching practice, and maybe what are the pathways, the challenges, and the possibilities during this way. I would like to make just a few experimentations here today. So I would start asking about how the audience feels about technology. Then I will briefly talk about hybrid education, and I will go through some models that can support our understanding of integrating technology to the teaching practice. And I will finish my speech with some lessons that I gathered based on our shared experiences from Finland, from Namibia, but also from experts around the world. I just would like to try this experiment. So I'm asking directly to the audience, and if the audience can type in the chat of the Zoom meeting. Don't speak, just write in the chat. What are your feelings about using technology for teaching and learning? In case you are a teacher, or in case you're a student, and in case you are a teacher who is learning. Is it joy? Are you happy when you're using technology? Is it anger? You get angry about it? Is it fear or surprise? I would like to see some answers if possible. I lost the chat. Okay. Excitement, joy, joy, joy. Okay. That's nice. Joy most of the time. That's important.
Nice.
Okay. So we have positive feelings. That's really nice. But it's also important to consider that not always people are happy when using technology. And me as a teacher and an educator, I feel very much frustrated much of the time when I plan everything, it should be perfect, and then the internet fails, the tool doesn't work as I expected, and things get wrong as I expected. So excited yet puzzled, yes, that's also everything is valid. So let's take a look on this. Why I'm asking this feeling? Because I think, and based on what is going on, something that should have happened before, much faster, but now with the COVID-19 pandemic, it catalyzed this process. Technology came to transform education, and now we are starting to understand or to realize how the technology can be integrated to education in what we call blended learning or hybrid education, in which we have not only exclusively the face-to-face learning in the classroom time, but also not only exclusively the online learning in which the learner is researching or reading something at home at their own pace, time, and space. So the hybrid education blends these two together, and there are plenty of different formats. You can call it flipped classroom, you can call it active methodologies, cooperative learning. There are different ways of concretizing hybrid education. But something that is also relevant to understand it, how teachers can really start from the beginning integrating it. And there are different models that try to support the understanding. This is one of the models that I would like to bring to you, the SAMR model from Dr. Ruben. From my experience, this model looks a little bit ideal, and I will tell you why soon. But according to this model, technology is integrated in education in 4 main stages. First, let's imagine in the classroom where the teachers are using the blackboard and the textbooks And the classroom time goes all around these tools. So there is no technology there in the way that we understand with hardware, software, and so on. But then there is the first stage of technology integration that we call substitution, in which technology acts as a direct tool substitute with no functional change. So let's say, as an example of that, instead of using the textbook, the teacher using the textbook to show the students a written text, the teacher is, for instance, using a PowerPoint slide in which the students can see the same exactly text, but not from the textbook, but from the PowerPoint slides projected in the blackboard. This is a simple example of understanding how technology substitutes this education process. The next stage would be the augmentation stage, in which technology acts as a direct tool with functional improvement. So, for instance, in the textbook, there was a picture. And now, in the PowerPoint slide, instead of showing only a picture, the teacher can show a video, a short movie, or a documentary. This is a way in which technology brings a little bit of improvement to the teaching process. But these both stages are called enhancement in the SAMR model. And then we have the transformation stage, in which the technology significantly redesign the teaching process. So, for instance, the teachers now can use some sort of game. So not only a board game, but some sort of computer game to support the learning of the student. And there are different ways that technology can redesign this learning process. And finally, the redefinition stage, in which technology allows for the creation of new tasks previously unconceivable. And as a simple example, we have exactly this Zoom meeting in which I wouldn't be able to talking with you because I am in a different country, thousands of kilometers away from you. But with the technology, we are able to communicate and to have this conversation as if we were in the same classroom, physically in the same classroom. So this is a way of understanding how technology can be integrated in the education process in a classroom situation setting. However, this model doesn't reflect, from my point of view, what teachers actually, what the users, like the teachers and the students, they go through when they're actually trying and many times struggling when they're trying to integrate technology. And from our experience, we have been developing this CIT model, which we call collective integration of technology. And based on our experience, we came to the understanding that when teachers are trying to integrate technology in their everyday practice, this is not an individual process, this is a collective process in which the influence or the experience of others impact and affect my feelings toward technology, my attitude toward it. I can get inspired, or I can get even more resistant to integrating this technology according to the group movement, for instance. And from what we have been understanding, there is no linear, it's not a stage after stage process happening in a very organized and linear way. It's more like a simultaneous process that happen together, and they can be even opposite to each other. But still, teachers are going through different feelings, opposite feelings towards integrating technology that might be happening at the same time. Sometimes one feeling is more is stronger than the other, and then it changes. So it's a more dynamic process instead of a linear process. And in this dynamic process, let's say the teachers start with a shock state in which learning about this technology, it goes through an intensive learning process in which the teachers might need to reframe stereotypes and reframe the mindsets. Many stereotypes about technology is too hard, it's too difficult, it's easy, it won't bring any benefit to my work. All these previous ideas, they will be confronted during this learning process, this initial phase, and then the teachers will have to reframe what is actually this technology about. But it's also a phase, a moment in which routines are disrupted. Because first, teachers have to spend a lot of time in learning about the technology and how to use the technology, but also how to not learn about, but to use the technology effectively. And this takes a lot of time, and this takes a lot of energy, and it's very, very consuming for this learning experience. And we recognize that. Not after that, but concomitant or simultaneously to that, teachers might go through a negotiation state. And this negotiation depends over a lot of factors. It depends on how their friends, how they see their peers learning about the technology, using or not, refusing to use or not this technology. There are many impacts. How the leaders of the schools are talking, are they imposing or are they inviting? How is the training? So many aspects impact in these negotiation states in which users do get familiar with this new technology, but there is a negotiation in the sense that depending about the attitude and the feelings, the teachers might feel that they are actually losing time and energy or trying to implement this technology because actually it will bring no benefit, or it's just an extra workload that it's no meaningful, there is no sense. They don't see the benefits coming out from it. But it can also be a positive negotiation in which the time and energy investment that the teacher is doing will actually bring a concrete benefit afterwards. So there is an investment, and depending on this investment, this negotiation can be positive or negative. Hopefully, if this negotiation is positive and the teachers feel that the investment of time and energy will compensate later because they are integrating the technology in a way that, according to the previous model, it does transform, it does improve the teacher task here in this stage that were previously shown, then the teachers feel empowered. They feel confident to experiment, to actually use the technology and actually change the way they were educating for the better. And finally, maybe the teachers will also feel the need to actually expand the feature of this new technology because they started to change the way they see the teaching practice. And they not only learned how to use the technology, but now they see gaps in the technology and they think, okay, so now maybe this technology could do something different because I need something different because my teaching changed. And this is what we would hope to bring in the technology integration process. And just as a final, don't worry, this looks quite big, but we will go through it quite fast and slowly. This is another model that can support how teachers can integrate technology to their teaching practice. 1 minute. In which, almost like DJ, in which, I don't know if all of you know the pedagogical content knowledge created by Schurman. The pedagogical knowledge, which is this one here, is the knowledge and practice of teaching and learning that an educator can use, such as classroom management, planning, assessment, all these pedagogical skills that teachers have. The content knowledge is the knowledge about the subject. So it's the knowledge about math, is the knowledge about history, is the knowledge about native language, foreign language, and so on. And finally, the technological knowledge is the mastery of technology, is the knowledge that the teacher have to use a computer, to use Excel, to browse through websites, to use a social media, and to look for new information, self-learning technology. So these models, the technological pedagogical content knowledge, is a fusion of all this knowledge that teachers can bring together and integrate in their teaching practice. So they have the pedagogical skill. So teachers have the understanding how their students can learn better. How this student is specifically, I know that this student specifically learns better when they are watching a video from the city that they come from. And this student here needs more time to learn how an equation works. And this student, and then with this pedagogical thinking, the teacher can use the math knowledge, the history knowledge, the language knowledge, with the support of technology to integrate these and offer activity, an assignment, a lesson, a lecture, and so on. So this is also a way to integrate these things together. And to finish my time, I would like to just emphasize 4 lessons that I think are very relevant during the pandemic, especially, but afterwards, when teachers need to integrate technology. First, pedagogy is the opposite of isolation. So we can't use the excuse that we need to physically isolate from each other, but with technology, we can compensate that through WhatsApp, through social media, and we can use it to intensify student learning and social communication. Second, partner with family. Especially now, the families are the strongest partners that teachers have to support student learning, because now students are mostly at home if they haven't come back to the classroom yet. And the partners are the most important. The parents are the most important partners. So try to understand what is the parents' routine, when the parents can help and when they cannot, so the teachers can adapt the learning routine to that, and so on. Adequate remote teaching implies a profound transformation of teachers' work, meaning that it's not about substituting a textbook and copying the text from the book and putting in a PowerPoint slide. But this implies a profound transformation. Maybe let's not work with text only anymore. Let's use video, let's use online games, let's use social media. And less is more, because everybody is overwhelmed, including with learning about technology. It's important to try to reduce the routine from a normal classroom to a routine that happens with technology, and including reducing content and focus on the core principles of the local core curriculum from your school. That could be the most important goal, so the students can move on with their learning. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry if I took too much time. I just hope I could contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lais, for the insightful presentation and so many great models that we can definitely implement in Namibia. Now, please allow me to go forward with the next speaker. Iina, as the program manager of Glowdom, involved in working with various schools around the country and so on, with respect now to the challenges imposed by COVID-19, what are some of the things that you have picked up as you are working with schools across the country?
Okay, thank you so much, Sebulon. So I'd say one of the challenges that we are currently experiencing, especially during this pandemic from a school setting, is that you'll find that the schools might have the technologies, they might have the computers, they might have the laptops, but they don't exactly have the necessary skills to use those computers. So it also starts with then the mindset of the teachers. I'd say the teachers would need to unlearn and then learn with the new technology. So it's more of trying to move from the chalkboard to move into technology. So I think the mindset as well is something that really needs to change with the teachers for them to be able to adapt and just embrace this new phase that we are in. So I'd say most of obviously the challenges do vary, regions to regions, schools to schools, but I'd say one of the biggest challenges that are currently popping up is the digital skills as well. So you'll find that the teachers do not exactly have the digital skills. So I'd always say, or give this example in the sense that when I get the new phone, so before I actually know each and every specific corner of that phone, I'll not let it go. So if teachers could have that same energy in the sense that this is something that they're going to be using within their classrooms. So if they can have that same energy and just give effort and make effort and try to learn new skills that they can use in their classroom, then I feel that e-learning and remote teaching is really something that can be implemented and can happen within the country. So we can't always be, most of the mindset again is one of those things that, okay, so we have internet in towns, we have computers in towns, but what about the kid that's in the village? What are we going to do about that kid? So it's so much in the mindset, in the sense that people are always, it's more of the negative items that are popping up rather than the positive side. So in order for us to ensure that education continues, it's really in the sense of us, or in the need of us, to change our mindset and to embrace the new norm or the new world that we're currently living in. So, but you'd find that the teachers are, like, from the comments that we get from Lai's question, there's so much excitement, but there's also so much fear. So these technologies is like something new to everyone, and remote teaching something new to all of us. So if we could just get rid of that fear and just do it, I'd say remote teaching is really something that most schools around the country can just implement. And of course, there are so many factors as well that are contributing to remote teaching not taking place. So we are looking at, like, we do not exactly have internet connections all over the country. We do not have the gadgets, and we do not exactly have the tools to carry out remote teaching. So I'd say most of the challenges are really just around the technological and the new mindset. So there's really just a moment. So there's really just a need for teachers to unlearn and to learn with the new norm that we're currently facing. I'd say really one of the experiences in terms of remote teaching that I really like is the fact that with the tools that we're currently having and the digital transformation program that we have running with the schools, it's that excitement for me when a teacher creates an exercise that they're sending out to the students. And you get that call, and then they're like, okay, I've managed to create an exercise and I'm sending it out, or I'm really struggling to create something. Can you please teach me how to? So I feel also in terms of the effort, some teachers are really making effort, and they're really wanting, and just they'd really like to learn. So I think effort as well is something that really needs to be coming from the teachers. And I'd say, I'm not so sure, so I think Sakarias might be the one to clear this up for me. From an education perspective, when you are in university in Namibia, the thing is, as all the students are registered, you do get to have a computer studies module that everyone gets to do. But I'm not so sure if, as an education student registered at a local university, you get to have a course or a module that specifically, let's say, education technology, something that will just introduce you to various methods and practices that you can use in your classroom using technology. So perhaps, Sakarias, did you guys have perhaps a module or something that was education related to technology that you had in university when you were there?
Yeah, we had a core module which was referred to as integrated media technology education.
Okay, so how was that module for you? And do you think that it's something you are taking something from it that you've learned and you are implementing it, especially during this pandemic?
Well, it was quite intense on one of the sides, if I have to put it that way, because we were taught not only how to do a PowerPoint presentation, but also basically how to use the technological communication platforms at that time. So it was a bit more intense. One had to be prepared mentally and also then prepare yourself on the theoretical side when you have to integrate this technology into your lessons and so on.
Okay. So for me, really, I feel is that need to start not only now when you're already a teacher, but even through the university years while you're there. I think that's something really that we could really implement, or just change the curriculum really and just try and implement education technology modules that will really try to help the teachers as they get into the field. They then try and integrate these things. But overall, having a mindset, especially during this pandemic, is really, I think, one of the biggest things that really need to happen. So we need to unlearn to learn new things. Yes, Sabulan, I'm done unless there are any questions from the participants.
Hi, Ina, just a quick question.
Yes, please.
You said teachers are struggling technological-wise. Their digital skills maybe needs a bit of improving. What challenges did you experience so far that you think which specific digital skills did you encounter so far that teachers are encountering right now?
Okay, thank you, Louise. So before we even start the programs that we currently have, we scan the schools in the sense that we are trying to get how good are they at computers, how good are they with social media, how good are they with like just normal basic computer skills. So you'll find that some teachers, it's been some, I think maybe perhaps some teachers, it could be that ever since varsity, they have not actually just opened a computer and done something on the computer. So it's just basically the one that's really topping the list. It's computer skills that are. So you get someone, if they cannot use a basic computer, they cannot create an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document, then it becomes really hard for them to now try and learn the new tool that we are providing to them.
Okay, and mobile phone skills, technology skills?
Mobile phones are quite popular. Almost everyone has a phone, but not everyone has a smartphone. So, but one of the good things about the tools that we're having is that you can use it on your mobile, but there's still that thing in terms of not everyone has a mobile phone, but they are quite popular. Almost everyone has a phone, and almost everyone has mobile skills. I'd say from 1 to 10, everyone has a 10 in terms of the mobile skills. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. Do you think then teaching can be done using mobile phones? Is it something that you think is possible?
Definitely. Sometimes there are so many apps that you can use on your phone. So like Zoom, for example, I could be having this meeting on my phone. With the software that we're using, you are able to send out the link, or rather the exercise, in a form of a link, and you can send it via text as well. So I think at the moment, most of the schools have been implementing, especially in terms of remote teaching, they have been using mobile phones. So all these WhatsApp groups are on our mobile phones. All these text messages that you're able to receive are on our mobile phones. So I'd say mobile phones is really something that would work and is currently working. It's just a matter of now, like I said, a new mindset of now getting someone from a phone to a laptop or to a computer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Iina. I'd lost some connection in the process and very insightful information around what is really happening on the ground from the implementation point of view. I would like, please, to get Tugela on board, and please, Tugela, as a teacher working in a school setting during COVID-19 and all these, everybody's trying to integrate technology in the classrooms and to make sure that teaching is continuing and so on. What is your experience as a Namibian teacher integrating technology solution and also being a change agent in your school?
Thank you, Sebulon, for the question. When it comes to making use of this technology in the classrooms, at the moment, especially in Walfish Bay at the moment, as you all know, we are on lockdown in the schools. Our grade 11s and 12s only started last week, Monday. So perhaps I can say that the private schools are much better off when it comes to utilizing technology in the classroom. With us, the public schools, we still need to purchase some of this equipment in order to make use of them. One needs to have, for example, strong Wi-Fi connection that can reach all the classrooms, and then one also needs to make sure that learners that, for example, if one is using a platform such as FormJack, that all the learners have access to not only gadgets, but also to internet at home that is now. So the experience at the moment is that we need to have access to the equipment, and then comes the training, which was also mentioned by the previous two speakers. It is very important that we as teachers are well versed when it comes to making use of these technologies and platforms in order to have more advanced ways of teaching our learners for them to learn the content that they need to learn.
Great. Back to Lais. Just to highlight a little bit, it would be interesting to find out from you, Lais, how things are, for example, in Finland, and what are some of the challenges that educators and teachers and schools are experiencing, and how they are handling the COVID-19, especially during this time that it's quite difficult.
You mean here in Finland?
Yes, they're in Finland, and your
Okay.
experience in the space of education technology.
Yes, I think this depends of many factors, including if it's a city or if it's a rural area, and also if it's a kindergarten or primary school or university. In Finland, there is not many difference in structure, let's say, as most of the countries. So basically, every school will have the computer equipment, the hardware and the software. But of course, if it's in an isolated rural town in the north area of Lapland, there will be less students, of course, less teachers and less equipment, but still the internet is reachable. You have good connectivity most of the time and so on. While if it's in the Helsinki area, you will see another architecture, another infrastructure, and of course the internet connectivity is also really high. But even though in these extreme situations, you won't have such disparities in infrastructure as in most of the countries of the world. However, in terms also of technology integration from the teacher side, I would say that the processes are more or less very similar in the sense that many school teachers and even university teachers, they were not actually using technology that much, even though it was there available for them. And of course, with the pandemic, they were forced to really integrate that and use it and learn it. So yes, here there were many teachers, Finnish teachers, who were actually learning on how to record a video lecture, on how to include an assignment next to the video, and using the learning management system platforms and this kind of stuff. Yes, I mean, Finland as an exceptional case, you won't have such strong disparities. That's my main message. But still, you see teachers in the beginning learning to integrate technology, even though it was already there. That's what I mean. But of course, this shock stage, I believe, was much weaker, or there was not such a strong shock to integrate technology as in most of the countries. Yes.
Right. Okay. I'd like to throw the ball back to Iina. The issue of homeschool collaboration is really critical in this time of COVID-19, whereby at times the schools are closed and the kids are told to go back to their homes and study and continue learning from homes. How has this been, the experience dealing with the teachers and now having to deal with the learners learning from home, which is kind of like a different setting than what we are used to. How has that been working with the schools with respect to homeschool collaboration?
Okay, so with the engagements that we've been having with the schools, what I'm getting from that is that most of them, so what they are doing is that they are sending out this work via WhatsApp. So they get to send out the work to the parents via WhatsApp. So one of the struggles, really one of the things that they're really struggling with is the marking. So they do not exactly know how to mark as soon as they send out this work. So the homeschool collaboration, it's easier to only send out the information, but not so listen content to the students. So what they were doing is that they would print out materials, and then they would then have to make arrangements for specific parents to come at specific times to come and collect these materials. So it's something that a lot of teachers have been struggling with, and it's something that they feel that it has not exactly been working, or it works for a specific period of time, and then after that it doesn't really work, in the sense that people no one actually wants to go out to go and get this material. So it also becomes hard now. So we have these materials available as a teacher, but you do not know how to send them out. But in terms of homeschooling, the only option most of the teachers have been using is the WhatsApp groups that they've created with their classroom, with their schools and the parents as well.
Great. Tugela, I'd like to come back to you. I would like to hear more about how you are handling the situation with respect to your school and the students per se. But to be very specific, is that I'd like to find out, has there been any changes in your education processes? Like, you are used to interacting with your students, you are able to see them reacting to your questions and when you are teaching and so on. But now the kids are learning from home and you are far from them, you're not really able to engage with them. How has that affected teaching and learning on your side as a teacher?
Thank you, Sebulon. At the moment, the change now that we are dealing with is the fact that you're up in the morning, you show up at work, and you don't have that interaction, that physical contact with learners. Now you have to get used to preparing work alone in the classroom or in any other room that is made available to prepare work. And on the other hand, when you are at home, you now, especially during, I think, the first phase or the second phase of lockdown here in Walvis Bay, we were, as teachers, specifically at our school, many of my colleagues have set up WhatsApp groups, and they have been sending various work from different subjects to the learners. And then the challenge there is now, like Iina has mentioned, or like Lais mentioned, is that it's easier to send the work to the learners, but then to receive it, you need to use other, or to receive it back from them, and to be able to mark or to assess, you have to make use of other platforms. I, for example, have been using, starting to use Google Classroom, and I just discovered that I'm able to allocate marks to the work that they have handed in so far. Same happens with FormJack. When you use FormJack or the FormJack platform, you are also able to actually assess the work of the learners and to allocate marks and to give them feedback so that they can either adjust the way that they structure their answers, or that you refer them to other sites for them to learn more. So when it comes to the WhatsApp groups, as mentioned before, the challenge is there. You can't mark the work of a learner on WhatsApp. But if you use platforms such as FormJack, Google Classroom, or maybe others that I don't know about, as a teacher, you will be able to allocate marks and then also give them feedback in that respect. So we don't have physical contact with the learners, except at the moment we have contact with the grade 12s and the 11s, and soon the grade 10s will be coming, but that will then also pose another challenge again to us as a school.
Awesome. I have another follow-up question, Tugela, because you are the main person who is like on the ground, really interacting with the students and so on. But my follow-up question is really on, I understand there's a different level of skills, and more especially the teachers who have already digital skills or a little bit more advanced skills in technology. It's kind of like an easy shift to using the tools, or to explore more and find out other tools that they could leverage, for example, in integrating technology into their teaching and also the learning activities and so on. But now, how do you see the teachers who do not really not having that advanced skills? Is there more collaborations taking place now among the teachers, that now some are having more learned or having more skills than others when it comes to digital skills? And how do you think on your side, your recommendation around that?
Well, when one has a mobile or a gadget for that matter, you have got social media platforms. So normally one used to use that only for accessing applications such as Facebook and Twitter and so on. But now those who do not have or do not usually use advanced technology or in the classroom now have to shift from, I go online only to check up on people's status, but now you have to go online and interact with your learners or via these WhatsApp platforms and whatnot. So that is a shift that those who don't have advanced skills had to do. And the ones that, for example, I know of the social science department, the ones teaching geography, they before the pandemic started, let me say, as from last year downwards, they make use of PowerPoint, because it's easier for them to explain certain processes such as the water cycle and so on. So they now also have to shift away from presenting their PowerPoint presentations, and they have to try now and integrate their voices into a PowerPoint presentation and then send it via WhatsApp or other platforms to their learners. So at the current moment, the feeling that I have picked up from our staff is that they need someone to be there physically, to take them through step by step in order for them to advance their skills to the next level.
Right.
Yeah, that also then being one of the suggestions that I can put for
All right.
according to your question.
So much. Yes, thank you so much, Tugela. We are
Welcome.
currently running out of time, but I would like to throw the ball a little bit on Iina, just and maybe Tugela, you can also come in a bit later on that one. But I would like to know and understand how the parents has been involved in the in the involvement of their learners' education. We understand that most of the learners do not have devices and so on, and that parents are usually the ones with the devices. How has this been leveraged, and how is this going from your perspective as an implementer, Iina?
So the parents really have been the center of it all. So because they are the ones with the devices. So if as a teacher I would like to send something to the student, I'll first need to get the contact details of the parents. So they are really the center of it all because they have the devices. But there's just one thing in terms of the students, that you give them the phone and then they go through all these games. But with the guidance of the parents and the support, they are able to then do the exercises. My nephew, for example, is someone who really, really likes phone, and then he likes this game. So as when they started with this whole thing of getting the exercises via WhatsApp, he would not exactly, if you give him the phone, he would not exactly go through the exercises. He'd rather try and get new games and then just browse on the internet. But as time goes on, with me being there and just supporting and guiding him, we are then able to just do these exercises together. So one of the things is that the parents have been really the center of it all. And with the right mindset, they are then able to just guide the students and support them as well as they go through the exercises that they are receiving.
Awesome. Is there something that you'd like to add together with respect to collaborating with the parents with respect to the learners' educations and so on?
Yes, just a short one. I've made a note here. I think with this new system that we are going to use, whether it is now or in the future, we have parents that now basically have to share his or her phone with the child at home. If it's the only phone or smartphone that is at home, the father or the mother has to share this phone now. And then some of the parents that I also had interactions with, they had to buy, let me call it, bigger, smarter phones, you know. Others, one key one is that this one is now in terms of the learners, those that did not take their email addresses so seriously. Now they see how important it is for the child and for the child himself or herself to have an email address. And then also the purchasing of data packages from the various, be it now telecom or MTC. That is now also something new, because back then a child will only need data, say, once in a month the parent will buy. But now the parent has to make sure that he or she purchases a data package per week. And then lastly, I remember once Mr. David mentioned at one of the workshops that he gave us on basic coding, he said that your phone is actually a computer. And I think parents and learners now see that this phone that they normally just used to take selfies all the time and pose here, left, right, center, posing everywhere and posting on Facebook and Instagram is actually now a learning tool. I thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Tugela, for the insight. I just want to check if there's any questions on the chat. Okay, there's not really much questions on the chat. We have come to the end of our webinar, but I would like to hear the last words. I'll start off with Lais, and in conclusion, what would be your few words of conclusion?
Sorry, Sebulon, what was the question?
Now, in conclusion, what are your last words for the for this episode?
Yes, I hope this discussion was useful, and I hope also it was a little bit liberating, or how can I say? Because I imagine that there might be some struggling or anxiety around integrating technology in every day, and that it might seem a lot of work, and it is. But also, I hope that this discussion brought the idea that we are here to support this process, and that we understand that this might bring anxiety and troubles and struggling, and it's part of every meaningful learning process. In every meaningful learning process, struggling and anxiety might come, but as long as it brings education to a level that can reach the students and improve their learning, then I think we are walking on the right path. That's my ending.
Awesome. Okay. Iina, I'd like to give you the chance, your few last words with respect to the topic of discussions today.
Okay. So my last words is just that let's unlearn and learn new things. So let's try and embrace the technology. One of the things that I realized as we're doing these trainings is that as soon as the teachers pick up the basic skills of the tool, you'll then be receiving these other questions. Can I do this with the tool? Can I do this with the tool? So let's just unlearn and learn new things. That's it.
Okay. Tugela, giving you the, I know you are doing a lot of work as a teacher and so much work also engaging with your colleagues and so on. I would like to find out your last words for the day on this topic. Tugela, your mic might be off.
Sorry for that one. Firstly, the stakeholders, relevant stakeholders, need to fast track the training of teachers. Iina has mentioned their basic training for computer and the use of softwares and whatever platforms that will come. And then also the ministry, in collaboration with the big giants such as MTC and Telecom, can find ways to upgrade and also develop infrastructure so that those in remote areas can have access to internet connection. And then lastly, I think it would be, I would love to encourage those that are make on this Eduix platform and part of the Glowdom community to not give up, and they are doing a good job. And I think in future this initiative is going to take us all the way to the top of the mountain. And thank you for having me and inviting me to say what I had to say and to share with you. I look forward to learning more. Thank you, Sebulon.
Thank you so much, Tugela. And I would like to take this opportunity also to thank our speakers, all our speakers, for insightful and interesting discussions and sharing your experiences and so on. Thank you everyone for attending. And there is more series coming forward, and they will be advertised. Do like our Facebook page and keep checking out for more information on further webinars and series that are coming forward. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.